and the show begins. My name is Aleja Adebowale, still the best online show in the whole of the all of the universe, North America, precisely. Okay, of course, and in Nigeria. This news, instant to sports. I have the gang with me today. I have Olawale and I have Roku Koji with me, and of course, airing live on a band radio scope every Monday at 12, and of course on your Apple Podcast and Spotify. Olawale, go first. Go first. Introduce yourself.
Good evening, Good evening, sporting fans around the world.
It's
Welcome
not
to the show
evening.
once again.
Tell them hello. Some are in the
Hello,
morning.
sporting. Oh, sorry, my bad. Hello, sporting fans around the world. Welcome to our sports show once again. I hope you are going to have a nice time with us. We are going to do justice to a lot of topics around the sporting world today. Welcome to the show once again.
All right, perfect. Oroku Koji.
Sports fans, before I say anything, I'm preaching for peace. We should sending out love and light to the people impacted by whatever is happening in Eastern Europe right now, without naming any nations. But back to the program. The famous Italian forward Annibal Frosi often said that the best match would likely end in 0-0. It looks like we just saw the best goalless game. Chelsea and Liverpool, they threw everything they had at each other. 4 offside goals between them. Nothing could divide them over 120 minutes. The man that was called in to save the day became the villain. All this you will get to see how we dissect it. Stay tuned for a package show.
All right, perfect. Kashi, you just threw me off balance. And for a second, before we even start talking about other sports, Olale, in your entire life, have you seen a better new game?
Arsenal versus Real Madrid 2006
Six,
Champions
semi,
League
quarterfinal.
return leg at Highbury.
Oh, wow. Kachi, have you?
Maybe Villarreal versus Arsenal, same Champions League 2006, where
Exactly,
Jens Lehmann saved the
exactly,
last-minute penalty.
exactly.
It was out of this world, but this is very much up there with the best of them.
Oh, wow. All right, perfect. So let's go. Let's start with the NBA. Olale, I'm going to start with you. Looks like the ban in New York could be lifted. Ah, thanks to the Canadian truckers. every government is careful. Every government is careful nowadays. So we could be seeing a potential lifting on the ban in New York. And what that means is Kyrie can actually play in New York. Ben Simmons, we know, is a beast on his own day, defending. And that's where they have their own Achilles heels. And of course, KD is coming back next week. If this is lifted, what are your opinions, or what do you think of the next thing?
I think we shouldn't be quick to write them off. That's going to be my submission because the likelihood of the ban being lifted is very, very high. I think the mayor of New York spoke about it some couple of days ago. And what's one thing we are not probably taking, the owner of Josiah, who is the owner of the Brooklyn Net, I think was probably a former business partner with the present the mayor of New York. So they are very, very close people. I'm sure there will be a lot of lobbying going in behind the scene, despite the fact that the mayor said that he's going to follow science, and with Adam Silver too addressing that issue, we know it's something that is likely to be lifted. Now looking at how it's going to impact the Brooklyn Nets, the question will now be with a couple of new faces. Okay, I think Ben Simmons is going to be the new face joining. Seth Curry and Andrew Draymond, they have already been incorporated into the team. So and with KD being this biggest superstar in that team, who everybody knows is the most easiest superstar to play with because it's not. So I think the biggest question will be chemistry, and I don't think chemistry will be an issue for them because
100%.
I don't think there is no new character coming in. There is no a player like a LeBron that will probably change the dynamics of the whole team, that will probably affect the way one player is going to play. I think my submission with this is we should not write off the Brooklyn Nets chances this year. They are going to be dangerous. Yeah, we saw them last night against Milwaukee. Their interior, the defending has improved drastically. Ben Simmons is going to add a lot more defensively to that team.
To the team.
And that will give Kyrie and
KD much more to do offensively.
Offensively. I think they will probably still end up around the 6th seed. I think with KD coming back very soon, I'm sure they might probably take over that 6th seed from the Celtics. Depending on how the first 3 finishes, I just think nobody wants to face the Brooklyn Nets in the first round. It's not your ideal first round opponent. But for me, I think the submission is we should not write them off this season.
All right. Of course, anything by injury, anyways, you might have the best team, and if injury is your antagonist, then you are in trouble. Kachi, what's your own submission? Do you agree with Olale, or you feel but given a good chemistry amongst the players, who will be their biggest threats right now?
I agree with Olale, right? Because even before the trade happened, when we analyzing, previewing the NBA season, we always felt that anywhere Ben Simmons goes to, especially when we trickled it down to either the Golden State Warriors or the Brooklyn Nets, even when we did not know that it would be in exchange with James Harden, we thought anywhere he went to, they automatically become favorites, right? And that is still the truth. It's still the very truth. You qualified it correctly by saying barring any unforeseen injury, because I feel right now, in terms of, I don't think the biggest threat to the Nets potentially winning it all is any team, even though, yes, depending on who gets to host 4 games, of course, based on their seeds, they finish as a 6th seed. That means the most likely the best they can get in any series is 3 games at home. So it depends on how many games or how they can host, whoever hosts the 4 games. But beyond that, their biggest threat will be injury and the mental state and mind frame of Kyrie Irving. Not even Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, he has been surrounded by shooters, and the Drummond will give you 17 every day. Seth Curry, on a very cold day, will give you 15 to 18 points. On a very hot day, can give you 30 points. So he's surrounded by shooters and playmakers all around. So I'm not really worried about Ben Simmons, because if they just tell him, forget about the box score, forget about the statistics, just defend. He's going to do a great job. However, KD has ropes for hamstrings right now, so there's really not a lot of trust in that. Secondly, even if they leave the ban or in New York and Kyrie can play, who knows what can just happen? We see what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. Kyrie can decide today to choose a side.
He's going to Russia.
He can choose a side today and decide, I'm not going to play because of what I believe in. So that for me would be the 2 factor. Injury to their biggest star, who is KD. And secondly, it sounds so funny. It sounds funny, but this is the man that in 2000. No, I'm not. Guys, listen. I'm only saying it as it is. Kyrie has shown us times without number that when everybody is going this way, he can just wake up and go this other way. Right? He's the one that burns sage. I mean, he's still burning sage in the dressing room. In 2020, 21st century, he's still saying the earth is flat. So that for me is their biggest threat, not anything. If all things work together for them, the only other thing that can defeat them will be for KD to wear the proper shoe size and not wear the oversized shoes. That's probably the only thing I think.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. And Ja Morant actually dropped 48 points against the Bulls, Chicago Bulls, which
Mhm.
I feel is very terrific, if you ask me.
Mhm.
Smart boy, young kid, and a very good player. Actually, I'm just wondering why on the MVP rating, why is this guy on number 5? Shouldn't it be a little bit higher or something?
Because I think it boils down to the people who vote using different metrics for voting. When it comes to Ja, the argument they've always had is when Ja does not play, the Grizzlies still compete. So he is not
The
valuable.
juggernaut.
It's not the most valuable piece in that Grizzlies team. Unfortunately, they don't use that same argument for the players they like. So number one, the first thing is he hasn't yet won over the voting journalists or the journalists who vote for the MVP. He's a third-year guard. He's still going to get his time, I understand. But if the main reason why he'll be fifth in the ranking primarily is because of the double standards of the voting journalists who say, oh, it's not the most valuable player. But for them to even now vote the most valuable player, they go at the end of voting someone with the statistics and not necessarily because they're valuable. Ja is explosive. I was reading an article that compared his third year with Derrick Rose's third year. I was asking, and the article was who would have won a third year Derrick Rose, which was the year he won MVP, and a third year Ja Morant. I felt that probably because of how far the Chicago Bulls took the Miami Heat then, which is what Ja needs to do in the postseason. If once he can prove and establish himself in the postseason, the journalists will start taking notice. So it's double standard.
Take him a little bit more seriously. Because for me,
not taking him serious
for me, the kid is something else.
Well, you see,
I think no, Kachi, I think before we leave this topic, it's funny the way most journalists and analysts in America, the way they analyze sports. Sometimes we tend to, in as much as I understand the impact of a superstar in a basketball game, but we tend to forget that basketball is a team sport. The way we tend to analyze, try to bring everything down to he has done one in the playoff.
Statistics.
So you should have taken this team. We don't look at the context. Who are his teammates?
His teammates.
Yeah. And this team actually can this team actually
really compete
for that team?
Yeah, of course.
I think when you look at individual, I understand that at times your impact on the team should actually reflect, but we should understand some just okay. Golden State Warriors 2016, 2017. Why is nobody using that against LeBron? 2016 to 17, everybody agrees LeBron was the best player in the world. But it couldn't beat the Golden State Warriors in those 2 years because we knew the Golden State Warriors as a team
were more compact, of course.
They were better. They were just better.
All right.
They were just better.
Perfect. So, like, just to reiterate, Kevin Durant is coming back next week for the Brooklyn Nets. His tiny rope hamstring. We hope it doesn't good. It's going to be a good omen this time around. I'm quoting Kachi right now in case I'm sued. Kachi, you be my lawyer. And of course, Josh Taylor, even though he was knocked down by Jack Catchell, actually did defeat him in the boxing bout for the lighter weight division of boxing. And then Rafa Nadal has won the third title of this year alone at the Mexico Open, which is a good word for Rafa. Looks like Rafa is not slowing down right now. Rublev won the Dubai Open, defeating Jerry Vasily in the final of the Dubai Open, and of course, stage one. Alexander Zverev was fined $40,000 for his outburst against the umpire. He did the same thing in the doubles with his partner where he was equally shouting at the referee. So they tied both together, and now he's missing out on the grand prize 100%. And of course, his win at the tournament is not going to count towards his point ranking. So whatever it is that he does in the tournament was not recognized. Kachi,
Mhm.
good boy in terms of being a good player.
Mhm.
But this guy it looks like he wants controversies to follow him. You see, have this thing over his looming over his head with his girlfriend, which he has not been able to get over with. Do you think he's just a 24-year-old kid? He's a
Mhm.
young boy, he's a kid.
Mhm.
Do you think it will outgrow this in the long run, or this could potentially be something that will follow him around? He's not the biggest talent, even among his age mates. He's not the biggest
Right.
talent. So
Right.
getting this kind of distraction overshadowing his possible potentials, is a bad looming axe over his head. What's your
Mhm.
opinion about that?
I sincerely hope that he will outgrow it, hopefully because he has sane people in his camp who can point to Nick Kyrgios in Australia and see how, because this is pretty much how Kyrgios started.
Start exactly.
An amazing talent, touted to gradually improve until he becomes a world beater. And then we started seeing personality issues affect his game and distract him, So at 24 years, he's probably not even at the peak of his career. Hopefully for the
100%.
next 2 years or whatever. Yes, it looms like the sword of Damocles, but I'm not going to say that is how his career will taper off. I sincerely want to believe that sometimes they need to have punishment such as this. Well, Nadal said he should have been disqualified, so he wasn't. But losing your prize money, getting fined to enable you have a rethink. Hopefully, he has quality people and not praise singers in his camp who can tell him the truth and not just say yes sir, yes sir. To let him know you truthfully need to change, because this is not the first time. This has been happening, like you rightly said.
Exactly.
Hopefully before his 25th or 26th birthday, especially when he starts to lose, or not necessarily lose, but when those sponsorship deals are not coming and he's not winning the big prize money, he can take a step back and look at where the issue is or where he has gone wrong and have a quick reset. It's good that it's happening now than for it to happen when
Happen
he's a much bigger star.
Exactly.
We're seeing how the whole world is reacting or reacted to Djokovic, simply because Djokovic always had these tendencies in him, but he did not show it until he became a bigger star,
Yeah,
such that even with the reactions, they can't really take away from his stardom.
exactly.
But as a budding star, if this is how you will continue, it's unfortunate you might go the way of Nick Kyrgios, where you are only invited for your home Grand Slam,
Slams.
and whatever you do, nobody takes you serious. I hope that's not the case for Zverev, because I like him personally.
Yeah, I do as well. Malali. So for the ATP ranking right now, Daniil Medvedev, sorry, Medvedev is going to be replacing Novak Djokovic. Is going to be replacing him for the world number one at for the next month. How much of blame should we put at the foot of Djokovic for losing it is world number one? Because realistically, even if he had played just 2 games at the Australian
Of
Open,
course, of
it
course.
will still be world number one.
Because not playing at all is let me say it's equivalent to like him crashing out in the first round, probably to a white card entry.
Yeah.
So that actually must have really affected his scoring points. And well, for Djokovic, I don't think that would be a big deal to him. I think the biggest concern for him now
It's
is
played at the
if
French
there will
Open.
be the same mandate in the French Open or the Wimbledon Open that might stop him from playing. That would be his biggest concern.
Yeah,
I don't think he'll be
thankfully
too
enough,
concerned about
Alali,
losing the
he's not a Russian, so
so I don't think it will be too much concern. But of course, like the question you ask, the reason why he has lost the number one position now is due to his own personal action, not because of any other thing.
all right. Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Lali. We're going to quick break right now. When we'll come back, we'll be jumping straight into the world of football. where we'll be starting with the best duo in the history of Premier League that have won a grand total number of 0 trophies. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. Yeah, jumping back into the world of football, two lovely players, no doubt about it, two world-class players, Harry Kane and of course Son. They have had a combined goal of 37.
37 goals.
Yeah, beating the record previously held by the duo of Drogba and Lampard. Olale, I'm going to start with you on this one. Looking at this illustrious list, we have Kane and Son, top of the pile right now. Drogba and Lampard. Thierry Henry and Robert Pires, 29 between them, as a matter of fact. Kun Aguero, of course, and David Silva with 29 between them as well. Looking at this and some other partnership that we've seen in the past, like Gerrard and Fernando Torres, Dennis Bergkamp and Thierry Henry, stuff like that. Andy Cole, of course, and Dwight York, one of the best partnership that I know of as well. How would you rank Kane and Son? I don't want to be a hater right now, but they've not won anything together.
You are.
With this, when you have two great guys like this, with this kind of goal combination, we should be seeing trophies at the back of it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most deadliest combination we've ever seen in Premier League history, and probably the reason why majority of us were a bit surprised that they probably broke a record like this was because as a team, we've not seen them having much success. The best we've seen from Tottenham was probably the Champions League of 2019. Yeah. So they've not been really successful as a team, and that is why it took everybody like surprise. Wow, like this guy. Apparently, they've been playing together for like, let me say, 4 or 5 years. But I think last season under Jose Mourinho, if you probably break down the stats season by season.
Yeah,
I'm sure last season under Jose Mourinho was when they recorded the highest number of both of them assisting each other for goals, because it was practically the way they were set up. It was just Son. It was a Son Kane
show
throughout Jose Mourinho. Every other person in that team was just to support them. It's actually great for the two guys, but unfortunately, due to the lack of success from the two point of view, most people will not really remember their feats as being something very remarkable. Like you said, Lampard. I didn't even know that Lampard and Drogba had something like this. Like they have this record with them for a long period. The one that actually probably I remember very well, probably due to the team success again, was more of the United Cole and York combination, and I'm not sure they really have much numbers.
Just to chip in, Lalale, last season they had 14 goals combination between themselves. So, which is the top of the pile.
Yeah. So, like I said, you could see that was where the whole thing even got to, because I know when they stay at Eriksen, there was a bit of mix here and there. Goals contribution. There is Eriksen plays more on the behind Harry Kane. Son plays on the left. Who plays on the right? I can't. Okay, there's a Dele Alli. Yes, there was a Dele Alli. So yeah, good for them. But again, without the team success, I'm not sure how history will still be kind to them in the next 3 or 4, 5 years.
Okay. All right, perfect. Actually, I'm going to come to you now. Honestly, let's forget about the start for 1 sec. Kane, Son, Drogba, Lampard, Henry Pires, Aguero, David Silva. Which of those 4 of this squad would you choose? Let's forget about the start for 1 second.
Okay. I'll go for Lampard, Drogba, because even though I don't have the stats in front of me, it looks like most times
36 combinations.
No, I don't mean the number of goals. I know they have 36 goals. Okay. But based to back up my selection, I believe most of their goals were scored in the biggest game. So that the magnitude of the games where their combination led to goals, for me, Champions League semi-finals, if you remember the one, Liverpool, where it looked like both of them did not know how to defend and it ended 4-4.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, that combination, FA Cups,
yeah.
league winning goals, because Drogba wasn't known really for scoring braces. You can count the number of times Drogba had 2 goals in a game, 3 goals in a game. So most times they were single goals
That
scored between both
matters.
of them, assisting each other. So because of that, I probably would weigh what Drogba and Lampard did slightly higher. I think the ones that will come closest, even though they don't rank in the top 3, would be Andy Cole and Dwight York as well. Those guys they scored when United needed
Needed
goals.
goals, exactly.
And I think that's really what sums
What
up
matters.
the partnership. Yeah, you can like Olawale give us that statistics. 14 goals in one season tells me that pretty much all the goals were coming
From
from
those
you.
2 guys.
But when Lampard and Drogba started, the old Mourinho team was not a high-scoring team. It was just a team that did not concede goals. So
exactly.
they won a lot of games, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. So it tells me that those 1-0 goals were important to getting all 3 points.
All 3 points.
And the fact that they usually would have come in the biggest stages gives it a bit more oomph, higher than I would rate Kane and Son. But listeners and viewers, remember that the person asking us this question is a Tottenham Sports hater. So anything he's asking is born from a place of beef and not a place of objectivity. Thank you.
Of course. So just a quick rundown. Drugs and Lamps. They follow Kane and Son closely. Aguero, Da Silva, and David Silva, Ore and Perez, and surprisingly Anderson and Teddy Sheringham. For one, most PL goals contribution in a particular season still led by Kane and Son, which we believe could be overshadowed this season if they continue in this fashion. Followed by Sheringham and Chris Totson at Blackburn Rovers, then Ryan Fraser and Wilson what they were with Bournemouth, Les Ferdinand and Gerling, where they were with Queen's Park Rangers, 1995, 1994 and 95 season. Sheringham again, we know well what we did Blackburn Rovers, 1995 and 96 season. Stan Collymore, and of course with the god of Anfield, Robbie Fowler in 1995 and 96 season. Dennis Borkham and Nicolas Anelka, 1998 and 1999 season. And Raul Jimenez and Adamo Traore in 2019-2020 season with 10 goals contribution amongst them.
Before you go from this topic, please let me just add. If you are probably asked me that question, who is my favorite among those combinations?
Of course.
I think I'll still probably go for Kane and Son. I'll give you why.
Okay.
I don't have the stats now, but I think if you look at the contribution, like it is no more of Kane assisting Son or Son assisting Kane. I think it's a bit balanced. If you probably dig in, like
I
contribution,
can give you the stats. So Kane scored 38 goals and provided 13 assists for Son, whereas Son scored 27 goals and provided 17 assists for Harry Kane.
So you could see a bit of balance in the way, which shows you about the movement. And Harry Kane taking up this withdrawn position, not really staying as a top nine, dragging defenders into the midfield, launching the ball for Son to make those runs. I still think probably it could be let me say what they call it, is it recent bias or what?
Yeah.
I still think their combination looks for me more like
more deadly,
the most perfect, balance, not like a one-way contribution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I will agree with you, because let's consider maybe Sergio Aguero and David Silva. It's going to be Silva providing more assists for Aguero,
yes, exactly.
Than reverse being the case. And of course, to an emotional one, Eriksen back playing football came in their match over the weekend for Brentford. I played about 38 minutes. I know it's an emotional one, but how glad are we that Ericsson can actually play the game that I love so much. Olale, I'm happy for him. Although they lost, but of course, I'm happy for him.
Yeah, from a personal point of view, I'm very, very happy for him. It's because we've seen a couple of guys who have probably suffered something similar like this that probably have to
Quit the game.
retire, quit the game. I think Francis Moamba will
Yeah.
always come to mind when you
Mhm.
remember this kind of thing. And I'm
Uh-huh.
sure before Brentford could probably sign on this to probably bring
Of
him to
course.
their squad, I'm sure the medical doctors must have certified that
Certified that is
it's
good.
safe. It's safe for him to play. Good one for him. But I don't know, just these 6 or 7 months that he's been out of football, it will probably I don't know how much contribution, how much playing time he will be able to get at Brentford that might probably convince a little bit of a more of a higher club to probably
To
want to
consider
invest.
him.
Yeah, to want to invest in him now because
Uh,
like, but I think
no.
because I think his contract
It's
at
just
Inter
6 months.
Milan
No, oh, okay.
was
At Inter Milan.
terminated.
Yeah, it was. It was
Was
because
terminated.
of the Italian laws. But I feel he signed a
Oh,
6 year 6 month contract with Brentford with an
yes,
opportunity
yes.
to renew at the end of the
But like
season.
now, Brentford presently now they've been dragged into the relegation
Of
battle.
course, of course.
So I don't know how much of a playing time the coach certainly will be under pressure now. What will be on his mind now is safety first.
Safety first
So
before anything else.
I don't know how much of a playing time he was going to get, which would probably could have helped him to get much of a bigger contract
Bigger
because
contract somewhere else.
if but if after these 6 months, if there is no much, let me say, impact on his
Impact
side,
from it.
yeah, I'm not sure he might probably be getting the kind of contract he's hoping for.
Open for. All right. I want to believe that he's not expecting for something buoyant. He just wants to play the game that he loves. We're seeing people like Vivian Four belated God forgive his soul, dying from that kind of circumstance as well. So I want to believe that it's not more about, it should not be more about the money, but just trying to do what he loves. Kachi, I'm gonna come to you now. Abramovich brought out a statement over the weekend, saying it's handing over the stewardship of Chelsea to a set of trustees. I know everybody was like, people are like, what exactly does that mean? What exactly does it mean? Handing over the club to trustees. What does it mean? And a fact that most people did not mention is that Abramovich actually took a bond out on Chelsea for £2 billion. So if at any time that bond is being called upon, we might see Chelsea being dragged into administration or whatever. This is a very big club. But now he's saying he's not handing over ownership. He's just handing over stewardship. And I wonder why people are so upset and so upset about the statement. I'm wondering why. Maybe you could give us one or two your thoughts.
I personally feel that what Abramovich has done just shows why he has been successful as a businessman. This is because prior to him coming out with that statement, members of the British Parliament argued seizing assets owned by Russians with ties to the Putin government in England. And what he has done was to make sure that whenever all this happens and the conflict is resolved, he can come back to being to continue as the de facto owner of Chelsea. The impact of handing over whatever it's the ownership of Chelsea to a trustee, basically what it does is it absorbs Abramovich, and that club cannot be called his for that time being because control will no longer be in his hands. The decision to hire, fire, promote, or do whatever, executive decisions cannot be done by him. So they cannot tie that asset, even though the whole world knows it's owned by him, they cannot tie it to him. So if there's an economic sanction against Russian oligarchs or Russian billionaires, because he has already absorbed himself, it's pretty much like, to dumb it down in the simplest way I can think of, is it's like signing a prenup. When a billionaire signs a prenup when he wants to marry a young girl, and he says, in the event that we divorce, this is the only thing they can split between you and I, because we have signed a prenup. Any other money I make after our marriage is free from the court handling it.
Yeah.
So what Abramovich did pretty much was to say, I may own Chelsea, but because I have handed it over to a non-profit making trustee, you people cannot economically sanction me by seizing it from me. They cannot seize it, because the British government could have used a de facto or a veto power to take back ownership of that club from him by saying, we've frozen all your assets because you are in Russia. Similar to what they did to the Russian government, taking them away from the SWIFT international money transfer network right now. Yeah, so that is really the impact. What that means is Abramovich, anytime, even if this war takes 10 years, anytime it is resolved, all he has to do is come back and take
over the ownership. Yeah, exactly.
Right. What does this mean for Chelsea? Well, ultimately, Chelsea will not be affected because this man technically does not, apart from hiring coaches or signing players, the day-to-day operation of Chelsea, he has never been involved in it from day one. He pumps his money. He loans Chelsea money as well. But the trustee, when I saw the makeup of the trustee, these are people who have history with Chelsea, erudite businessmen, people in law who can handle this thing. They will handle the day-to-day operation. Chelsea will not face any economic sanction itself just because they were owned by it. There's no fan of Chelsea should be afraid of any potential law.
Unless the bond is called in.
The bond definitely will not be called in. I think
which I hope is will one day. Pretty soon.
The reason why the bond will not be called in is there's already a term, an agreed term, the maturity date for that bond, which is not anywhere close. The bond was recently refinanced and extended for another, I think, 7 to 8 years. So the potential maturity date right now is about 5 years away. Let's hope whatever crisis is happening does not get up to 5 years to the 5-year schedule. But for the immediate future, there is no immediate risk to Chelsea.
All right, perfect. Olale, I don't know if you have one or two things to add to that as well.
Well, I think Kachi has done a lot of justice to the topic. For my own end is I don't know how possible it is to probably do the handover. We all know the reason why he did that. It was to take probably the attention away because already there are already some clamor from the British MPs that businesses owned by Russian oligarchs should probably be taken over or something like that. I'm sure it was a smart move. But my concern on the whole issue has been, can this probably be done without a public announcement? Because I think this probably drew more attention to him as a person in terms of because what people like Gary Neville Carragher has been made, they've been criticizing for in the past 24 hours has been, in that statement there is nowhere he mentioned Ukraine or Russia.
I'm wondering why you have to. I'm wondering. I don't want to go political, but I'm wondering why you have to mention Ukraine.
Of course. I understand why you can't do that, but expect those guys just to want that they see that as a loophole on his side. I just think that will probably bring, what do you call it, a little bit of negative attention to Chelsea. Point in time.
Exactly.
Yeah, and because there are even some news, although not confirmed, that even the trustee on their own side have not probably accepted that responsibility.
Wow.
Because I'm sure probably there could be some
people would just want to disassociate themselves.
behind the scene. And
Yeah.
so I just think probably that thing could have been done a little bit of, what do you call it, low key, without really making it, because the sentiment now is anything that has to do with Russia now, you have to be a bit
You
very
have
careful with it. I think that it should have probably be handled a bit of
yeah,
a bit carefully,
more
more than
discreetly.
making it. Yeah.
A bubbly stuff. Kachi, you are muted. You want to say something?
Yeah, so add to what Olawale said, especially if he knew he was going to make a public statement, then he should have probably outrightly told us where he stands, whether it's vehemently against Russia invading Ukraine or he stands with Vladimir Putin.
That's a political statement, Kachi. I don't agree.
No, I'm basically saying he could have done, all this could have been done without him releasing any statement.
More exactly,
He could have
100%.
Exactly.
100%.
And everybody,
100%.
and nobody.
But that's what they are.
Right now,
Can you continue?
Instead of deflecting attention, what he has done by that statement is to turn the flashlight.
Yeah, exactly.
Because right now, a lot of people are saying, will the UK government agree to what they call an official carve-out of Chelsea from any potential action they want to take on Russian oligarchs? Because don't forget that even before this, Abramovich had been deemed a person of interest. He had his visa to the UK renounced.
Exactly.
Yeah. He has not even been in the UK for up to 2 years now.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there were a lot of attention. So this looked like he's just trying to save his face.
He has to take up Kachi. Sorry, he has Kachi. Not breaking. He has even to take up Israeli citizenship in order to allow himself back into the
UK.
Yes. So you see that it makes it look like whatever you're doing is not with the best intention. So the thing is, even if it is not with the best intention, there is a way you would do it, especially when you do it low-key, that will not bring attention to your club. Yeah, right now, most people who hate Chelsea have been given more ammunition to go against Chelsea, especially because most people that are members of parliament in England, for those who don't know, most of them are Arsenal fans. They are now going to put
Can we go to the next topic, please? Some people just, I don't know, actually, you love Arsenal so much that you can't take Arsenal off your mouth.
Most of them are Arsenal fans, and they may use this statement as more tools to attack the person of Abramovich or attack Chelsea indirectly.
All right, perfect. I do really wish Abramovich well in his endeavor to get his club back in the process that he wants, or whatever formation that he wants the club to be in. And of course, still on Chelsea had a lovely tantalizing game with Liverpool, the League Cup final. The League Cup final itself, like we've established here, I think the grand total price of it is less than £100,000 after you win. So it's not a glamorous cup itself. But when you have two titans clashing and bringing out the best that you can think in any footballing match, you will be happy to be a football fan. Kachi, I'm gonna start with you. Lukaku was on the bench for this game. It looks like a trend now, and truth be told, Tuchel was happy to be on the back foot, play a little bit of counter-attacking football, and it actually worked for them. They were not playing very well during the real regulation time, but they were getting those chances when it was needed. Right? So is this going to be a new thing that we'll see in Chelsea now? And ultimately an eventual exclusion of Lukaku from the team. Now that we know that the guy that actually bought Lukaku is now recusing himself, so to speak, from Chelsea. That gives Thomas Tuchel, it gives him a form of leverage to outcast this guy in the long run. Because truth be told, they play better without Lukaku.
Yes, they did. So I listened to the pre-game interview, where Thomas Tuchel was asked the reasoning behind dropping Romelu Lukaku, and he said, well, he wanted a lot of pace. He needed people who will run at the
Defenders.
Liverpool defense, because he knew that the game was going to be determined by who runs the most and the hardest, and he felt Lukaku would not give him that. And big credit to him, because the chances came pretty much from balls directly over the heads of the
Exactly.
Liverpool defenders,
Mhm.
and a very, very progressive Christian Pulisic, Mason Mount, and Kai Havertz, who could run and not remain static. And you would see when Lukaku came in that Chelsea became slightly one-dimensional. All they just started doing was pumping the crosses in,
Yeah,
trying to get a
exactly.
Lukaku header, which was what he was trying to avoid. If he had played that way for 90 minutes or for 70 minutes, that game would have been lost. I kind of like don't agree with you when you said that Chelsea were happy to concede possession. I thought Chelsea took the game and played, or that game itself was played by a team or two very attacking teams who had respect for each other but did not fear each other. Probably one of the best, most exciting games we will see this season. I'm not saying all in history. One of the best games we will see this season by two teams who really, really wanted to win. None of these teams wanted to go to extra time. Chelsea got their tactics spot on. I felt that the best defenders or the better defenders on the night, or the single best defender on the night, was Thiago Silva.
100%.
Van Dijk was put under immense pressure, same as Joel Matip. But coming back to your question, I don't think this is the way forward. This is only tailored to the opposition they had at hand. Let's not forget that most of the teams, they will play at least 36 times or 30, 34 or 30 times. Let's make it 30 times in a year. Will be teams that they are way better than, who will be happy to concede possession to Chelsea, soak up pressure and stay deep. And the best way to probably get them will be the balls into the box. I'm talking of teams from fourth position below. They only had to do this because they were playing against a very mobile Liverpool team. They probably would do the same when they play a very mobile Manchester City team. But when you look at every other team apart from Liverpool and Man City, I think Lukaku will fit into that plan.
All right, perfect. Olale, the goal that was actually chalked off for an offside, where Van Dijk infringed on Rice, on James Reese, on James Reese. Is the rule on that, is this shoddy or is pretty straightforward? Because it interfered with play, or this is something that the referee could have actually overlooked, and what else?
Now, sometimes for me, if you see the reaction of the Chelsea players after conceding that goal, their reaction did not reflect a team that have been cheated, or they think they've been robbed. So I think that thing should have been overlooked. I think that goal looks very legit, because if you let me say blow that as a foul, let's reverse it and let's imagine that it was, what do you call it, Reece James that probably did the same thing to Van Dijk. Yeah, would that ball be a penalty? I don't think so. So that's why I think that shouldn't be a foul. That should have been a legitimate goal.
All right. But my second question would be the Lukaku offside. It doesn't look an offside to me.
From my eyes, from my own eyes, that ball is not an offside. But when they brought, when they brought out their line, I don't know how they got that line, because
even that line was not convincing. That line was not even.
Where on earth is this? This is a legitimate. It was so very clear to me. I don't know. Probably my television was not well placed. That the Liverpool defender, whether it was Van Dijk or Matip, I don't know who was.
It was Van Dijk.
His body was clearly ahead of Lukaku. How that and that didn't take them too long to conclude. It wasn't like they drew the line a couple of times to. It was something very straightforward. So I don't really understand this whole thing again. We'll just take whatever they give us.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Olawale. I don't know if Kachi wants to add anything to that, but
I
if in case
just
Kachi, okay.
I just wanted to say that as soon as I saw the lines, I just immediately remembered the size 13 shoes that Kevin Durant
Come
wears.
on, man. You
You
just
know,
have to
like
make that.
because it was just the jersey. The line was Lukaku's jersey to Van Dijk's hand. It was if Lukaku had rolled up his jersey or was wearing a short sleeve, that would not have been an offside. So it tells me it's pretty much extra clothing or extra size shoes that led to that. Or maybe the VAR guys were just like, come on, this game is too entertaining. It's
Don't
already
let.
extra time.
I
Let
think
it get to penalty.
I think that's what they did. Honestly, I start to be quite. God should forgive me, but I think that's
It's
what they did.
possible because
That's what they did.
I'm also of the opinion when a game gets to extra time, I don't want to see a winner. I want to see penalty. I like the penalty drama. We got a technical masterclass in penalty shootout. Thomas Tuchel, when they asked him and they said, "Oh, do you feel hard done by losing by the lottery of penalty?" And he said, "What do you mean? You saw 21 expertly taking penalties, give or
Penalties.
take one or two ill-taken penalty like the one Ibrahim Konate
Konate.
played that should have been saved, in my opinion. But there was no luck with that penalty. The players knew where they wanted to place the ball. They kicked it with conviction. Even the keeper that was brought in to save balls, I can't remember how many he dived correctly. You know, he was being placed with reckless abandon. Thomas Tuchel was not angry because you couldn't have caught 21 or 22 penalty kicks luck anymore.
Yeah,
Those were 22 players that knew how to play the
yeah,
ball.
yeah. I know Lawale is political. I will want to avoid this question, but I'm still going to ask him anyways. What if Mendy was kept on?
Chelsea would have lost the game eventually.
Olale, why are you scared of the Blues? Speak to the microphone,
No,
please. I can't hear what you said.
I think they would have still lost the game. I don't think. See, you see something about penalty shootout is this. Of course, based on what the coaches probably what they've been observing in training, probably they've concluded that
Kepa was a better.
Kepa was much more reliable. We've seen this with the Nigerian national team before.
Yeah.
Eyama was perceived as not too good at what do you call it when it comes to penalty kicks. So I think that was what they observed. That was the thinking behind the decision. But of course, if Mendy was there, probably could have saved one or two. All this thing is if, like what Chris Broussard will say. We can't make an opinion on something that is if. We can only make an opinion on what we
on the fact
what we can exactly what has actually happened. So that's an if, and I can only assume that even if he has probably even if he was on goal, yes, if they've lost this, probably they will have lost two with him.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Olale. And I'll just do a quick recap of the Champions League. Chelsea defeated Lille 2-0. Kai Havertz and Pulisic scoring. Lukaku on the bench again. Villarreal versus Juventus. According to Kachi, it's the tactics. Okay. Villarreal versus Juventus. Vlahovic scoring the goal. He has scored 5 goals in 6 appearances compared to Alvaro Morata that has been there for so long and not scoring goals. Dani Parejo, the Real Madrid graduate, scoring the other goal for Villarreal. And of course, on Wednesday, we had Manchester United playing a 1-1 draw against snatching. Lucky to play a 1-1 draw actually against Atletico Madrid. I wonder how they did not manage to beat Atletico Madrid. Benfica 2-2 against Ajax. I can't remember your prediction, guys. I can't remember your prediction, but
we did not have any predictions.
You did.
We did not have any predictions.
Don't worry. I'm going to bring it up for you.
I think I got the United wrong. Wrong.
Exactly.
I predicted Atletico Madrid
to
win that game
against Manchester United.
I think the Villarreal game probably.
So Lawale was saying the Villarreal.
I think the Villarreal Juventus game. Probably I predicted the draw. I can't actually remember that, but I could remember vividly that I said Atletico was going to be United.
Yeah, I know.
Benfica game. Honestly, I
You said
can't remember the
don't
prediction.
worry, I'll bring out the clip for you guys. Anyways,
Please,
I will bring out the clip for you guys. And of course, through the roundup of games, Southampton defeated Norwich 2-0. Spurs defeated Leeds United 4-0. Marcel Bielsa has been sacked at Leeds United. I told Kachi, you can't play football the way he's playing football. He has been unlucky with injuries and the rest, but you can't play football that way. You have to be pragmatic sometimes. Otherwise, you can't last. Of course, the money that Newcastle brought to Premier League has moved them out of the relegation table. And right now, they are in 14th position. They defeated Brentford 2-0. Joe Willock scoring scoring the second goal for Newcastle. Crystal Palace played a 1-1 draw against Burnley. Manchester United played. They played it. Manchester United. What is
0-0 draw. 0-0.
Sorry, say it again. But you had Ronaldo. How come you play 0-0 again? You people cannot score.
Hard luck. The ball keep hitting the
bar,
upright bar, woodwork. We're just unlucky. They're just unlucky. The god of soccer.
Bruno Fernandes did not want to pass on the day, and the rest. Of course, Aston Villa played the one against Brighton and Hove 2-0. Lee Watkins scoring the last goal. City, I don't understand. Kachi, was that a penalty?
I thought it was. I really don't know how they got away with that. How was Rodri? I think it was Rodri got away with that handball. In fact, the commentary on the broadcast I watched, the commentator was like, surely, when he first saw the replay before VAR came and said, surely this is a penalty.
Wait, let Kachi finish, please.
I personally, I felt Everton were hard done by with that call, but I'm not VAR, and this goal comes back to what we've been saying here: the inconsistency of the British FA referees continues to be alarming.
We don't understand them.
You had a montage on our Instagram page showing all the times Man City has gotten away with incredulous calls, and it begins to make me wonder. Somebody like the Arabian money more than they like the Russian money. Just maybe.
Okay, maybe. Funny enough, I just want to put it out here. I don't like Chelsea, but Chelsea, over their dominance in the Premier League, don't win leagues or win titles on the back of contentious decisions. I can give that to Chelsea. Olale, I know you beg to differ to what Kachi
of course.
said.
I don't think I will differ what Kachi said. Probably I differ what you when it comes to United success of the 90s, you're always very and very emotional about.
We are not talking about United. I did not say anything about Chelsea.
The way Ferguson rigged Wenger is all art. Just accept that Ferguson has more desire to win than your beloved poets. Mourinho said it. He said poets don't win too much of titles. Poets, they don't win too much of titles. So
where's Mourinho today?
But back to that question. I think, on the most serious note, I think before this game, it was during the Euros where something similar like this happened. I think there was, the FIFA rule keeps changing. I think they said anything from the top of the shoulder to towards, what do you call it?
The elbow.
The upper side of the hand is not a foul. So it wasn't a decision. It wasn't a decision. It wasn't a rule. I heard yesterday. That was why I was like, okay, yeah, that was not a foul.
Okay. Olale, I don't agree with your submission.
I wanted Liverpool to win.
I would never agree with your submission. His hand was not supposed. The hand, his hand is not supposed to be in that position to start with.
No, it's not about the position.
It goes a long way. it goes a very long way. That anyways.
They classified from the top of the shoulder
Okay.
towards those elbow side as not a foul.
Okay.
It is the rule of the FIFA.
Okay. I think that's what makes football interesting when you have this kind of discussion. But I think that is daylight robbery, and nothing in this world can change my mind. And back to Ferguson. Ferguson won so many titles on dubious decision, on the back of dubious decision.
Killed Wenger. He killed everybody in London.
West Ham defeated Wolverhampton, and of course, don't forget that Arsenal won Wolverhampton 2-1 in the midweek as well. The top four race is eating up right now. Look like Chelsea is being dragged potentially into the top four race as well. I believe Chelsea are 3 or 4 points ahead of fourth place position. Manchester United 5 points ahead of Arsenal. Arsenal having 2 outstandings to play. Potentially, Chelsea, if Chelsea is dragged to the top four, it will make it more interesting. While we look forward to the league leaders setting the pace for the Premier League. In the Spanish La Liga, Barcelona won thanks to Aubameyang, Luke de Jong, and of course Ousmane Dembele. Kachi, will you be surprised if Ousmane decides to renew his contract now that it seems like he's enjoying his football?
I don't think I will be surprised. I think you want to prove your mettle. Nobody wants to go to Barcelona or Real Madrid and be deemed a flop. If there's anything that anybody is holding against Michael Owen now, is because of that 1 year flop season he had, where he just couldn't stay healthy in Real Madrid. The coach himself has come out to say he likes this type of Dembele he's seeing, and he has reflected that by playing him more. As long as he can stay fit, there's really nowhere to go. Does he want to go? He wants to go to France. Where does he fit in? Is he going to play Marseille? No, come on. I personally think, I'm not saying I speak for him, but I think right now it fits into what they want to do, as long as he's ready to buckle down, work hard, and see it as a fresh start.
All right, perfect. And 18-year-old Pino scored 4 goals in 53 minutes for Villarreal as they defeated Espanyol 5-1. Sevilla defeated Real Betis 2-1. Sergio Canales scoring the consolatory goal for Real Betis. Mallorca lost at home to Valencia 1-0. Getafe played a 2-2 draw against Alaves. And of course, Lodi scored a brace from left back for Atletico Madrid as they defeated Celta Vigo 2-0. And Real Vallecano lost at home thanks to a heartbreaking late goal by Karim Benzema, assisted by Vinicius Junior in the Spanish La Liga. And of course, moving to Italy right now, looks like AC Milan and Inter Milan are not serious team. AC Milan decided to play 1-1 draw against struggling Udinese, so to speak, when they could have actually gotten a gap over Inter Milan. Inter Milan on the same day played a 0-0 draw against Girona as well, failing to register so much on targets in the game. And of course, Empoli played lost at home against Juventus 2-3. Sassuolo defeated Fiorentina 2-1. Napoli defeated Lazio 2-0. And of course, Roma, they are coming back gradually, defeated Spezia 1-0. And Olale's beloved Murillo, that called my own beloved Asenega a poet, is still on the 7th position or below. I don't know. And of course,
poets don't win trophies.
What? He did win trophies. He's the greatest FA Cup winner in the history of England.
They don't win more trophies.
Yeah, okay.
Poets don't win Champions League.
That's it. Anyways, that's the wrap, and that's the show. A wonderful and congratulations to Liverpool winning the League Cup, even though it's not a glorious or glamorous cup. But of course, it's a win is still a win. Winning against Chelsea gives it all the glamour you can think about. And of course, we look forward to Messi improving at the Farmers League. He had an assist. and as the 1-3-1 with Mbappe scoring a brace in the game. Looks like we have just one king in France, in Paris right now, and his name is not Lionel Messi. His name is not Neymar. His name is Kylian Mbappe. That's the show, and that's the wrap. My name is Laje Adirabo Ali. Till we see you again next week. Don't stop supporting sport and love, of course, love Oracle Kachi.